Hello guys, I'm coming up with one more tutorial on 3ds Max for beginners. So as we have seen in the last tutorial, the use of 3ds Max, where exactly it's used. So in this tutorial I'm going to show you something about the interface of 3ds Max. So let's get started. So very first of all, go into start, all programs. That's an Autodesk application. You can go into this Autodesk. So this is a version. So right now you can use 2020, 2017, 2018, 2019. So I'm using right now is 2016. So you can use any of the versions. Let's start with this application. So as I've explained you in the previous session that 3ds Max is an Autodesk application. So Autodesk is a company, 3ds Max is application, and your 2016 is a version. So you can use any of the versions. So once you open 3ds Max, this is your user interface for 3ds Max application. Let me explain you about this application. This is your menu bar. These are your views. We can say your views. We also call it as viewports. This is your command panel. This is your timeline, your time slider, we can say. And very important over here is like, this is your view cube. So as you see over here, these are different views written over here. That's your perspective view, that's your front view, that's your top view, and that's your left view. So if you see these three views and this thing which you see over here, that is called grid. So this is your grid. So grid is something like which you place the objects, we can say a base of the application. So for example, if you're creating any kind of a object over here, you're going to place it on this grid. So everything you're going to create should be on this grid, not below the grid. So this we are going to use it over here. If you see this 4 views over here, if you see this views, these are your 2D views. When I say 2D, what is 2D? You can only view from 2 directions. Maybe from X direction, XY, YZ or XZ. But if you see this view over here, you see from all it is a 3D view because it is a perspective view. So front view is a 2D view, top view is a 2D view, left view is a 2D view. So let me explain you how to work with this views. So very important over here is like, for example, if you want to rotate this view over here, how you can rotate this view? The shortcut key to rotate the view is like rotate the view, or you can say rotate the perspective view, that is Alt plus middle mouse button pressed will rotate the view. So if you press Alt and middle mouse button and you rotate it, if you move your mouse, you can rotate the view. You can rotate the view. Scroll will zoom the view. So if you scroll it, it will zoom the view. So you should have a scroller mouse over here. And your third is, if you just press middle mouse button and move your mouse, it will pan the view. So what is panning? Just press middle mouse button, not Alt. You can pan the view. So this is a 3D view which can be rotated, which can be zoom in, zoom out. You can do zoom in, zoom out, and you can pan it. That can be done only in perspective view. Whereas this view, you can only zoom in and zoom out and only pan it, but you cannot rotate it. Once you try to rotate it, the view goes from front to orthographic. So 2D views cannot be rotated in 3D. So you can just go over here again and keep it set it as a front view. So you can just pan this or scroll it. That can be done over here. So same thing for this, all the views. If you want to change the views, you can set it as top view, bottom view, front view, back view, left view, and right view. These are the shortcut keys over here which you can set over here. So you can see this yellow color active box, that means your view is selected over here. So if you press Z on your keyboard, if you press Z, it will come to its original position. Or we can say Z is for focus the view. So if you create any object and if you click on the object and press Z, it will focus on that particular object. So that can be easily done over here in this application. Either you use Alt and middle mouse button, or you have some view cube over here. You can rotate it from here also by just left mouse click, and you can rotate it. So there are two types of modeling over here we use in 3ds Max. So one is your poly modeling, we call it as a polygon modeling. Another is your spline modeling. So there are two types of modeling which we do over here. Poly modeling is a kind of a modeling where we use some 3D shapes over here for creating any objects, and spline modeling is useful for creating some complicated shapes, like you can spline, we use it as a 2D, and afterwards we convert it into 3D. So for example, if you want to create some complicated pillars, so you can use the line and all this stuff with the help of 2D shapes, and finally you can convert it into poly modeling. So poly modeling is a major part where we work over here in 3ds Max. So we'll be definitely going through it. So if you go over here and if you see this in the standard primitives, you have some kind of shapes over here which are 3D shapes. So for example, if you say box is a cube, so when I say cube is a 3D shape, but when I say rectangle is a 2D shape. If I talk about circle is a 2D shape, cylinder is a 3D shape. So these are all the things which are mentioned over here. But if you go over here into the shapes, you get some 2D shapes like line, circle, rectangle, ellipse, arc. So these are also beneficial. We'll definitely go through that accordingly in the further sessions. If you go over here, let's create a plane over here. So plane is a flat surface. So let's create a plane. So if you want to create a plane, let's go into the top view and just create a plane. So once you create a plane over here, so plane is considered as a flat surface over here. So first of all, there are unit setup. We'll just remove this unit setup, customize unit setup, and we'll just create as a generic units. I'll come to the unit setup in the further lectures where I'll be utilizing with the free 10 inches. So this is a unit setup over here. So I've just removed the unit setup. Now this is just a number over here. That's for your length and width. So now for example, if you have created a plane over here and you see that the plane is visible over here in a form of 3D, and on all other views you see it as a 2D, which is flat. So press W on your keyboard. So these are called manipulators. So which are the manipulators? W is for move, E is for rotate, and R is for scale. So when I press W on keyboard, now I can move the objects. So if you see that, you can see X, Y and Z, but over here you will only see two views. Over here you will see two views, over here you will see two views. So you can move in any of the axes, you can move in any of the axes. If you press E over here, E is for rotate. You can rotate the object in any angle. So if you want to rotate in any of the axes, you have an option, that is X, Y and Z. For example, if you want to rotate the object in X axis to 90 degree, you can just go into X and press 90. You will see that it will rotate in 90 degree. If you press 0, it will again bring back to its original position over here. If you press R over here, R is for scaling. So this is, you can scale it. So if you scale it from the center, it's going to uniformly scale it. But if you are going to scale it from any of the axes over here, it is going to scale only from that axis, X, Y and Z axis. So if you see this has been seen over here in the form of wireframe. As you can see, wireframe. What's a wireframe? Wireframe is something like, you can see the wires. These are called wireframe mode. This is a mode. So if you press F3 over here, it will bring back to the shaded mode. If you press F3 again, it will again shift back to the wireframe mode. So F3 is for wireframe. So it's a toggle button. So if you press F3, it's a wireframe. If you press F4, that will show you wireframe with shade. So if I say over here, so you have a shade. Now you see this, you can see the wireframe also and shade also. So if you press F4 in any of the views, you will see that wireframe also and the shade also. But if you press F3 again, it will again switch back to the wireframe. So these are the things which you need to remember over here. So you can rotate it. As you can see, I can view this in any of the axes. So now if you go over here in the modify panel over here, as you will see that you get the length over here, length and width. So how length and width works is like, if you want to change the length and width, you can do that. And you have the segments. So what are segments? Segments are divisions, you can say subdividing the object. So if you see, length segments as 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you see these lines? These are called segments. So if you increase it, it is going to subdivide it. Subdivision helps you in the further sessions. We'll see that how subdivision help you to detail any kind of a model, 3D model. For that we use the subdivisions. So these are some basic presets which are we are utilizing it. So we'll go through this. Box also, you can create a box right from the top view. You can create a box. Again, go to the modify panel. You can see the length, the width and the height. You can increase the segments, length segments, the width segments and the height segment. So these are all this stuff which you can see. I can rotate it. I can even rotate this. Okay, and one more thing, if you want to maximize any of the view, you can press Alt and W. So you can just maximize the view, maximize the view or viewport. You can say a view. The shortcut key is Alt plus W. So if you press Alt W, you can maximize it. You can see any of the view. You can just pan it and scroll it. You can just select it, and if you want to give a color, you can just give a color from here. So the file extension for 3ds Max is .max. So you can save the file in the form of .max. Alright. So these are all the presets. We'll be utilizing it and we will be modifying those presets and create the shapes, create the models out of it. So thanks for watching this tutorial.